This is the LowcoSports Lowdown podcast. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett and Wes Kerr.
Hey, LowcoSports fans, Justin Jarrett and Wes Kerr with you on a Wednesday night, and we have a surprise guest co-host with us for the first half of the show tonight as we welcome in Marcus Walsh from WHHI-TV. What's up, buddy?
Gentlemen, how are you? Been a while.
It has been.
How's your summer been?
So far, rocking and rolling, getting ready certainly for football season, which we're going to talk about here shortly. Doing a lot of stuff around the Hilton Head, Bluffton area. Currently in the midst of a big move from Hilton Head. I'm going to be back living in Bluffton. So really busy with that stuff over the last couple of months, but there's just a lot going on, including sports.
Yeah, I mean, not too much this time of year, which allows us to breathe a little bit, and so that's why we haven't had occasion to talk with you quite as much, because we're not all out there on the grind so much. But but definitely, there's some stuff going on. You were out at 7-on-7 this morning, which so here's the deal: we hyped this thing up a little bit, not a ton, because it's 7-on-7 and it's for development and all those things. As it turns out, we were going to talk about how, like, well, the scores don't really matter. It's not really about who wins. It's about what you get out of it. And, is it your first string, or are you getting guys in there? All those kinds of things that complicate the winning and losing and these kinds of things. All went out the window because there was no tournament at the end. It got too hot, and so they had to shut it down and didn't play it out to the conclusion. So we don't have a champion or anything. I did talk to a number of people who were, there with, 4 teams or whatever. I talked to Coach Hannah at Hampton County. They went undefeated at the Hilton Head Christian site. He said Hilton Head Christian was kind of back and forth with them, but they handled that one.
They did look impressive. I saw a couple, and I was just looking. I was there for an hour. The first hour that things were going on. I was looking at what they were doing against their various opponents. I see some Whale Branch stuff here on the film that you've got, and certainly was hearing Jerry Hatcher getting into guys already.
There's the dastardly thermometer.
Obviously. Yes. Communication was a huge key. Certainly, not missing assignments, making tackles, a lot of the fundamentals that we talk about daily in the broadcasts of these high school football games that we do per year was a huge thing that I got taken away from the last hour. Saw a little bit of Beaufort, got to see Bryce Lybrand and company. But just kind of from the eye test of the hour that Joe Keith and I were there, that's what we saw and what we took away from in terms of on the field with football. But a lot of what we did was more behind the scenes of the origin of the tournament. We both got to take a look and certainly talk to Wayne Quinlan, who is a representative of the Southern chapter of FCA, South Coastal FCA. So we got to talk to him. He was great. He talked a little bit about what happened last year, which we knew about, which was the weekend event, the overnight events.
Right.
So that was a huge deal. But to get back to just more of the grind during the day and during the heat, I really think that's what they were looking for again this year, to get these guys a little bit more conditioned and ready to face what they're going to be facing deep into the summer. And then when you take a look at the fall with August and September, it still can get steamy. Even into October, it can get steamy down.
Yeah, even those early evenings, it can get kind of crispy out there. So it's good practice when you're getting ready to compete for real the regular season in these warm conditions, and these guys are finding some opportunities to get some reps against low country opponents, which is always nice. And one of the benefits to this is you kind of get to test yourself against fellow Lowco teams and players, and that's got to be important, just to have those opportunities to test the waters and experiment, and and it's a fun atmosphere.
Now clearly,
what were the vibes today? Before, obviously,
Well, real quick, first we're looking at Marcus was at the HHCA site here at the Bluffton site. This footage from Brady Sacha, by the way.
Good to see that he was out there too. Lisa wanted us to get out there, Lisa Richardson, to the Bluffton site. We just didn't have time And certainly with the heat and humidity and travel arrangements and that type of thing. Would have loved to have gotten out to the Bluffton site just right across the street there, but I'm glad somebody was out there taking film, and looks like a scorcher already.
Sure.
Yeah, and I was told also, talked to our buddy Jay Alfonso from Ridgeland, Jay's Barbershop in Ridgeland, Lowco Booster Club member. He was there because his son's playing for Thomas Hayward, of course, and he said Thomas Hayward beat Bluffton, which I was later told Bluffton was playing some backups in that particular game, some JV guys, because they're trying to get everybody reps. But nonetheless, I sold Tony O'Banner. Looks really good. He's really developed as a passer.
Touchdown, Tony.
Battery Creek and they beat Bluffton and Hilton Head. They tied Battery Creek, I think. Battery Creek has really good skill position players right now. They lost Underwood to BA, so that stinks. But
I saw that
recently. Chase Olson continues to develop into, he's a leader, and he's going to be tough this year. And they've got really good running backs back there with him. Damian Freeman is super electric. Derek Smalls can fly. They got some guys. So, they're interesting in this format. But what I was really getting back to was just like, I saw Coach Cunningham from Bluffton while I was over there today when I got there late, and he kind of gave me the rundown. And, we just kind of talked about what we talked about the other night about, depends on how you approach this thing, right? If you're approaching it trying to win at all costs, then you're losing already, because
you're missing the point, kind of.
Yeah. So the real beauty of this thing is that everybody gets to steal free reps, and it's like having a little mini camp for your skill position players that doesn't count against you, and like if you don't take advantage of it, you're really forfeiting something and slipping behind. So it's a great opportunity, like you said, Wes, to just get reps against your rivals, like iron sharpens iron type situation. And you hope everybody approaches it in that same spirit and like shows like real defenses and stuff, like instead of playing to win the game in a 7-on-7 exhibition tournament. But and that's when everybody benefits the most, is when everybody really treats it like free mini camp, free practice. But it sounds like it was a great event, and props to FCA for setting everything up. I know they fed the kids at lunchtime, and they had all kinds of stuff, fellowship going on and stuff. So great opportunity for everybody to get some reps right here instead of going out of town to do it.
Real quick, if I've got a couple of minutes, I just want to highlight the WHHI-TV schedule because we have it. And 3 of the teams on our schedule that I am most interested in to start this season, and again, I'm starting a little bit of my prep with the fact that I was there today and whatnot a little bit earlier than usual. We're talking high on Battery Creek in terms of what we saw from them today. We're going to see them twice in the first 2 weeks. So they're our first 2 games. We've got the Battery Creek JP2 game. Obviously, we saw JP2 with
some intrigue there
win over Thomas Hayward last year in their opener. So it'd be great for us to be back seeing a JP2 opener. And then we are going to space our schedule out a little bit, where we do a game in August, 2 in September, 2 in October, and 2 in November. We're going to see Beaufort and Battery Creek in game 2 that we have on September 20th. We've got Hilton Head Bluffton the 27th. Then we get a few weeks off. We have May River Hilton Head on October 17th, John Paul II at HHCA on the 25th. And then November 1st, we're going to do the same deal where half the crew, we've got, a sideline reporter and filming happening at one site. That's going to be THA at Beaufort Academy. The rest of us, and Daniel and I will come back in studio and call that. The rest of us will be at Bluffton May River. So condensing things. We've got a couple of less games on the schedule, but it's going to be a full slate. But again, Battery Creek, certainly Thomas Hayward, and then JP2. Those are 3 teams going into it that last year had some huge moments. And I think those 3 teams are kind of teetering, not necessarily on the brink, but I think those 3 teams are about ready to bust out and really take it to a next level. We talk about Bluffton and May River and Hilton Head and Beaufort. Those are the creme de la creme of this area. Those three that I just mentioned, Battery Creek, JP2, and THA, I think they're about next level big time.
THA is 1 year removed from winning a handful of state championships in a row, right? Like, I think they're still creme de la creme, and they weren't too far off last year. They're going to be real good this year, I think. Top Malphus is back. Taylor Malphus is taking over as head coach. And he's brought Bonai back out of retirement. The AD's back out there coaching. You know, it's kind of the
that's right about
kind of the same, minus Shuford, the Shufords, but a lot of the same guys that led that, you know, that charge for a number of years. And Antonio Banner is, I mean, he's just a man among, you know, mere humans, a monster among mere humans in Skeeza. Like, it's crazy to watch him. So they're going to be a real factor. JP2 is interesting because I think the program, like, overall is definitely the high tide is rising, but Christian Tilton's gone, and, you know, like,
that's a big factor.
You don't just snap your fingers and figure it out after that. So, you know, that'll be an interesting kind of work in progress early, but I love what Milligan's done. Not just with football, but, you know, he's the track coach too. He's got a lot of kids playing multiple sports and training for track in the off season. He's a big weight room guy. Like, I do think they're going to take a big step up. And I saw they played a 7-on-7 at St. Andrews today and won it. So, you know, I think there's some potential there. Who's the other one you said? Battery Creek.
BC.
Here's the thing, like, take it to the next level. Well, they don't win right now. So, like, winning would be taking it to the next level. And I think they'll do that this year. I think they'll win some games. But, like if they go 500, it's a monumental accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like, it's like huge. They haven't done it in a long time. You know, so, like, you know, I just, you know, relative, you're talking relative when you say take it to the next level. Whereas Beaufort, you know, like, they could take it back to that level of state champion potentially. So yeah, Beaufort's going to be amazing to watch this year, I think. Samari and Amari.
They're going to be fun.
That's going to be
Samari
really fun. Samari Amari. But we're waiting on our first guest tonight, who is the new May River basketball coach, Kyle Bennett. But we haven't seen him pop into the green room, so we're going to try to get him in here. But before we do get him, and we've got Patrick Boulware coming on later on after you peace out, Marcus, to talk about wrestling with us. I know that's not really your jam, so we won't make you stick around for that. But we figured you do want to talk to Coach Bennett and get to know the new basketball coach at May River. But a couple other headlines real quick. Jeep Patrick tied for second after 2 rounds at the first T National Championship in Clemson. Final round, he tees off tomorrow at 9:40 a.m. He's 3 shots back, so he's not out of it. Maria Francescati will swim in the Paralympic trials Thursday through Saturday. And somewhere here I've got the actual schedule. So it's qualifying heats at 10 a.m. and finals at 6 p.m. each day on Peacock, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. She's in the 100 back on Thursday, 100 free on Friday, 50 free on Saturday. So that's pretty cool. And then Legion Baseball scoreboard, Walterboro with a 13-2 win over St. George tonight. Huge win. And Beaufort Ospreys off the schneid. 4-2 over Monk's Corner. They get the dub. So 2 wins for the Lowco tonight on the Legion baseball scene. And if we have time at the end of the show, we'll look up some more details on that and shout out the guys who brought home the dubs tonight. But we do have a guest ready to join us. So let's shout out the MVP sponsors of LowcoSports. Starts with my wife, Megan Jarrett, the official realtor of LowcoSports. She's with Keller Williams of the Low Country. She'd love to help you find your place in the Lowco or help you upgrade to a bigger, better place in the Lowco. She's the official realtor of LowcoSports, Megan Jarrett, my wife. And we've got homegrown home inspections. the official home inspectors of LowcoSports. They're the best in the biz when it comes to making sure you're making a great investment. If you're building a new home, you got to have that phased inspection from Homegrown Home Inspections. John Lucas and his team will check on it every step of the way and make sure it's built right. Hospice Care, the Low Country, is the official hospice provider of LowcoSports and the only not-for-profit hospice in Southern Beaufort County. They've provided all kinds of great services like hospice care, palliative care, and free grief counseling, because at Hospice Care, the Low Country, it's not about dying, it's about living. And Mickelson Law Firm, our official real estate closing attorney, our original sponsor and the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. They've been with us since 2017, so please call on Mickelson Law Firm for all your legal needs. And with that, we welcome a new character to the LowcoSports universe. Coach Kyle Bennett, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Had a great time meeting you a couple weeks ago at your meet and greet thing, which tonight Wes was over there to meet your new counterpart, Terry Kicks,
Okay.
who is terrific. But we've gotten to know each other a little more over text over the last couple of weeks. So we've become fast friends. You've had a whirlwind, buddy. You got down here to get the job, to meet everybody, and we're told, oh, by the way, you got 2 weeks of practice that you haven't used yet if you want them. And you said, I'm not going home till I use them. So you did a little nightmare vacation on Hilton Head, and now you're back in Kentucky and trying to get moved down here. So, take us through this whirlwind process of getting to the Loco.
We kind of weird. It was fast and furious. Went down there for 5 days. Was going to interview for the position and meet some people. And I actually was going to attend a couple of receptions before the graduation at May River. We know a couple teachers there, so we ended up going. And then once I got the job and everything else, I realized that June is an open season for you guys. So I ended up going for 5 days. We ended up staying for about 3.5 weeks. Worked out the kids for 6 days, and then I had to come home this past week. We got back on Sunday here, and we're leaving Saturday to come back. So June 30th, we'll be back full time, and after the dead week of July 4th, we'll be going 3 or 4 days a week with the basketball guys.
Nice.
Right on, man.
Awesome.
Well, welcome to the Low Country, and great to have you, new head coach of the May River Sharks boys basketball team. And what did you learn from this very crazy last couple of weeks? Getting right into the swing of things with June practices, and what have you learned from the guys that are going to be part of this team coming up in the winter?
Honestly, I was just surprised at their athleticism. Very good group of kids. We've got 2 all-region kids coming back next year. They did a phenomenal job. Great senior leaders. We had about 18 to 20 kids almost every day working out. We did it after football, so they were about 7 or 8 of those guys are going 3 hours of football, and we would go 12 to 2. So I give them all the respect in the world, because again, humidity and heat down there for 3 or 4 hours outside, and then coming back in the gym, they were warriors. They did a great job. Again, couldn't be happier with their work ethic. It's a biggest thing, the transition, just like the terminology, things of that nature, talking to new kids from what I call stuff here, and what they've been brought up with, the different drills that I call one name that they think is something else. There's going to be some hurdles to go over, but they've been phenomenal. The kids have been great. The administration's been great. Jay Dyer, he was a JV coach last year. He's helped me. And my transition has been so much nicer with him because, again, my knowledge of South Carolina basketball, low country basketball right now, other than knowing who is in my region, and again, I know we have 2 new teams this year in the region, but other than knowing that, when I get back down here on the 8th, or I get down to the 1st, but on the 8th, I'm putting together the outer region schedule. I'm reaching out to coaches, and we're hoping to get 4 or 5 scrimmages in July during this open season, and again, seeing them go live. But I have 6 or 7 guys right now that I go to battle with right now. I think we'd have a nice squad, and I think watching games I've watched on YouTube and some of the things they played last year, I like our team. I like the kids. I think they play hard, a hard-nosed group. We're going to be pretty good.
Coach, talk a little bit about what you are trying to instill coming from different areas of your coaching career and pedigree.
Well, again, I'm coming from a basketball state, so it's a different thing. I went out to a couple of the football practices beforehand and just watch what they were doing and the numbers they have and stuff like that. Yeah. It's such a difference. Not just in the football, of course, but even in just kids' mindsets. We want to become a culture, basketball to become a culture, where those kids want to come out and want to play basketball. A bunch of the football guys, a couple of them would come every other day and just try it out just because a new coach to see what it's like. And again, athlete. I mean, some of these guys coming in are just unbelievable athletes. Now, fundamentally, maybe not as up to the guys who haven't played since their freshman year, 8th grade year, but just athletically, man, they were unbelievable athletes. The biggest thing that I've had to, I guess, not hate to deal with, but just how different it is with the mindset of, like, in Kentucky, even small schools, you have freshman teams. You have full freshman teams, 10 or 12 freshmen. Here you only have JV varsity. So you're having freshman kids, 4 or 5 freshmen are competing against seniors on a daily basis. And again, instead of having 12 guys, and you keep a couple kids that might be big, you think, or you throw a little apple out there to them to keep them, and just to have them for a year, see if they mature, get bigger, get stronger. It's a different mindset of how you do that. And also, we have very few boy-girl double headers when you schedule. And, when you have a JV on a separate night, all of a sudden you're practicing and you kind of want that camaraderie and that culture of everybody playing together. But sometimes it seems that it's almost you have a JV team and you have a varsity team and they're separate. Right. So we got to do something to kind of mend those fences and bring it as it's all for one, not separate entities, if that makes sense. That's one of the things that we're working on, that out of non-region schedule. It's just it's a different mindset, but I'm really looking forward to trying to instill again. I just believe that trying to do everything you can to make these guys not just better basketball players, but better young men. And I'm really looking forward to it. And they seem to be very receptive and done a great job for me so far.
It's interesting you bring that up, because that's definitely something that, like where I came from, Kansas, and it was much more like what you're describing, where it was a program, it was a silo, and everybody went through the same practice. You might be in different groups. The freshmen might be kind of off at the end, but they're doing the same practice, and it definitely makes it easier to kind of pull players up, or kind of shuttle players in between that are kind of tweeners. And it'll, like you said, it allows you to carry those kids that maybe it's not there yet, but you can see that it's in there, and they just need to connect some dots, and that only comes through the reps at full speed. So I think with more folks getting involved that come from other states and have different ideas, I hope people are receptive to some of that stuff, and we can possibly start to make some positive changes that maybe benefit the kids more down the road. But you mentioned that a couple of teachers at May River, and I picked up on this at your meet and greet, but I haven't heard the full story yet. But it sounds like you were kind of headhunted to come down here by a couple of teachers at May River.
I taught at again, Walton Verona up here in Kentucky. And when we were doing that for 20 years, one of the ladies I taught with was Kerr, and she ended up retiring. And I thought it was the greatest thing when she retired. She ended up saying, "You know what? She ended up going to Low Country, going to May River, and she's been there for 5 years now. And she just left. No friends down here, no nothing, just showed up. And I thought that was the greatest thing in the world, that to be able to just move and do that. And I just thought that was the greatest thing. And a bunch of her other friends were all kind of questioning her, like, "What are you doing? Are you kidding me? You're going to move and just go to someplace you've never been and teach again?"
Magical place.
Exactly. And and so I was that guy. I was like, "Oh my God, it's the coolest thing in the world." And so she knew I was retiring this year from after 30 years. I'm retiring on actually Friday, my last day of quote unquote my 30 years. And when she reached out to me in April, like 17, say, "Hey, we got we could have a social studies opening, could have a basketball opening possibly. Are you interested?" And I go, "Yeah, I really am." Yes, I am. I was always looking for something to do. I've been athletic director for a while. Always had my heart in basketball. I've varsity basketball coach forever. And it was one of those things that when I got out of it to become on the administrative side, I always missed. I missed that connection with the kids. I just thought that was the greatest thing. And having those kids come back after they graduate and want to spend time with you, come to practices, go to games, do stuff like that, is one of the things I miss on that administrative side of it. And just building those relationships. And she's made it possible. I had all these other different things I could have done. And I kind of said it at the meet and greet. I had all these different things that I could have done, and nothing really was something that I just put a fire in me. And this is something that I've been passionate about it. I love basketball, love coaching, and like being around. Just love being around kids. Just looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great opportunity. Again, I love the Low Country. I used to always travel to DeFusky for 2 or 3 weeks during our dead period here in Kentucky. So nice. I always went to DeFusky and always been around that area. So I just think it's just a great match, and can't wait to get down there full time starting on Sunday.
Are you a golfer by chance?
Okay, bad story here. Never have I ever went out and golfed. I'll play anything. I'll play tennis. I'm 6'5", 215. I always had the right size. Everybody. My best friends were always great golfers, and I'm the most competitive person in the room. And so they were always good, and I always wanted me to get into it. And it was one of the sports they could beat me at, so I never took it up. So I didn't want to start. And again, I would have been the guy out there every day, 7 days a week, 6 hours a day to get better, to beat them. Yeah. And I think I saved a ton of money from what I've heard by not doing it. But
no question,
I never took it up.
Yeah.
I always everybody was on me from the time I was 16, 17. It's like, nope.
You saved yourself a lot of money and a lot of heartache.
A lot of golf balls. Yeah. So
yeah.
No, you kind of mentioned it earlier, but that backcourt that you inherit, if you're gonna come in and take over a team, all you could really hope for is a couple of senior guards who have played together for a bunch of years and are really versatile and complementary. That's a good place to start. And then the Boswick kid is really athletic and continues to blossom into a better and better basketball player. There's some skill there. There's some, but yeah, I guess talk first of all just about those guards, because Tanner Macy and Gage Duncan are about as good a 1-2 punch as you can get.
Yeah. Again, Tanner's a great shooter. He's going to be a big time scorer. Gage at the point. It always starts out front with your guards. If you're getting good guards, you can be good. Period. I think our biggest guy is going to be about 6'2" or 6'3", and that's Will. But just with those two guards out front, we're going to be able to guard, and we're going to be able to guard the perimeter. As long as we can rebound the ball, which again, we're hard-nosed kids. I think the way they've showed it with like Andrew Johnson. And again, I think we have a great kid in that Luke Albright, who will be junior. We've got a nice 5-6 guy rotation. I'm telling you right now, we could go out and play right now. Duran, another guy about 6'2", athletic. Strong. Again, I got 6 guys that I could go out, I believe, next week and play. We put in a little bit of an offense. We've not worked enough on defense yet, but I think the brand of basketball we're going to be able to play, being small and athletic, is going to be an up-pace type game. We're going to shoot a lot of threes. And again, I've got the guards and the shooters to do that. I believe defensively we'll get better as the year goes on. Again, some of the things that they've been taught, we're going to try and change a little bit of some of the, again, not just the terminology, but some of the basic stuff that we want to do defensively is a little bit different. So it's going to take a little time to get that in, but I couldn't be happier right now. And again, whether it's South Carolina, whether it's Kentucky, if you've got guys that can guard on the perimeter and take care of the ball and score, you can be pretty good. And I really believe that we've got 5 or 6 guys that are interchangeable. I got 6 guys get it off the board and go the other way without having to worry about Gage getting it, and play a faster pace, transition a lot more than what they did last year, watching those videos. And I think we'll be better shooters. I mean, they had some games they scored in the 30s last year. I'm watching them practice. I got some guys that can knock down shots. And again, they're going to get better with some of the drills we're doing. And again, their work ethic, they're going to get better. I think it'll be a fun style of basketball to watch.
Boswick's going to be he's a dog. You're going to have fun coaching him and watching him develop. And then Tanner Macy, I think the potential is sky high with what he could do heading into this basketball season, but also what we could see on the football field as well this fall. But I think you're going to have a great time coaching this team. And then you look at the opportunities to, look around, recruit the hallways, and find out who could be complementary pieces. So, you know, talk a little bit more about what you're looking to do to try to enhance, you know, this team moving forward, and kind of what's next as you get into July in this open period, and kind of what you're hoping to see in terms of scheduling and finding some potential reps against other opponents.
First off, with the whole scheduling things, I've really been talking with Jay and our Bigum, our AD, just seeing who we want to play, distance we want to play, distance we want to travel. Again, we're trying to play the outer region games. I'm going to try to do a lot more JV varsity games, to be quite honest. And again, going back to, I want those kids to be able to practice together and get more of a bond between them instead of being separate entities. I think that's coming. I just think that the biggest thing with the scheduling is I want to play good teams. I really believe that you got to play good teams to get better. I got to get used to this classification, which we don't have here in Kentucky. Everybody, whether small school, big school, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of things I got to get used to. The game rule, only so many games kids can play, which again, you know, in Kentucky, you might have a kid start freshman, start JV, and start varsity and play, you know, 50, 60 games a year, if not more. It's just a different way of getting into it. I do, again, like I said, the biggest thing to me is building that culture and going back to that. And hopefully that we'll be able to do some things with the scheduling that'll help us do that. I do like playing anybody. I don't mind traveling. But I'm anxious to see once the final product gets out and what we can do. And I just kind of want to play other teams in this July period just to see what other teams have and how their styles play. Like I said, I've watched some of their game films from Huddle and things of that nature that I've been able to get my hands on. You know, you know, we talk football and Big South Carolina being a big football school and big state. I mean, but man, there's some basketball talent down here. There was a lot of talent, and I'm anxious to get into it and see it and see the style of play and how it's officiated. That's a big deal too. I know that's we go different regions in Kentucky, just different parts of the state. Everything's officiated different. I want to see what it's going to be like in South Carolina and the different rules you guys have compared to what we have. It'll be a barnstorm, but I'm anxious to take it on.
Well, if you're impressed with our officials here, you'll be among the first. I don't hear many coaches saying very many good things about them, but you know, it is what it is. But it is definitely a grab bag with the officiating. You never know what you're going to get. We do have some characters who wear the black and white stripes. So, you know, it's always a good time, but that's all part of the soap opera, right? Of high school sports is who's got the whistles tonight. You never know. And it can definitely impact the game, but Coach, we're excited to have you here in the Low Country. And like I said, we became fast friends and I think it's going to be fun to cover your program. And, you know, my kids will be at May River soon enough, one next year and another one a couple years after that. So we'll be seeing a lot of you around, I'm sure.
Okay, I do have a question. Okay, I got all these guys. All my main guys are football guys. When I've heard they're pretty good on the football field.
Yeah, they're pretty solid. Last year was a little bit of a down year. Last year, kind of a rebuilding year, but the standard has been set high, and you know, I think they'll be right back up there this year. They're pretty solid.
And I think a big thing is just the competitiveness locally. The rivalry of Bluffton, I think, is really amplified.
Yep.
And I'm sure there are instances like that in Kentucky where you have a bunch of highly grown in region, in area rivalries that kind of make everyone get better. I mean, how important is that to have some teams you look at? Obviously, you want to win as many games as you can, but you know, having that mindset that we really want to beat this team, or we want to
stay ahead of these guys.
Exactly.
How much does that help you in terms of a coach and just motivating players? Obviously, that's sometimes intrinsic. But
honestly, those are the games you want to circle, man. I mean, we play Bluffton, we play Hilton Head, we play Buford. I mean, those are games you definitely want to get. That's bragging rights for these kids. You kidding me? They see these guys everywhere when they go out and do stuff, play AU together. I mean, they want those bragging rights. I mean, those are the games you want to. Again, they're regional games for us too, but those are the games you want to circle and you want to get. No ifs, ands, or buts. But you know, I told him when I was interviewing, I'm one of those guys that's all in. I'll be at the baseball games, I'll be at lacrosse games, I'll be at every football game. Every football game, I'll be there praying my guys don't get hurt. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Dave's going to get like 20 carries tonight. Will's going to get like 5 or 8. Andrew Johnson's going to get some. Tanner's quarterback, and so I'll be like with the rosary bead walking around the entire every Friday night. That's the last thing I want to see those guys. And I know they're looking forward to it. Just texting them when I left, texting them back and forth. Just they had their 7-on-7s, and I think they were supposed to be Battery Creek on Tuesday. It got too hot, so they couldn't do that. But I know they played Hampton last week and did real well against them, and I know they're looking forward to it, and I can't wait to watch them play.
Yeah, man. We'll have to have, maybe you'll be a May River football correspondent on the Lowco Pigskin Live. Give us a report.
I can text you scores or whatever, man, because I'll be at everything. Trust me.
There we go, man. Well, we appreciate you, and we welcome you to the circus, and we'll talk to you real soon, man.
All right, man. Hey, you guys have a good one.
Congrats.
Take care,
Lowco.
Coach Kyle Bennett from May River. I told you guys he's a good dude. He's going to be he's going to fit in well around here. We like him. But well, Marcus, thanks so much for riding along with us, man. I know you got to get going, but great to talk with you, and look forward to seeing your full report tomorrow with your interview with Wayne Quinlan on the WHHI-TV news. Yeah.
Sounds great. It'll either be tomorrow or Friday at the latest. Not exactly when, but it'll be before the end of the week.
All right, man. So look out for that on WHHI-TV with Marcus Walsh. Appreciate you, man. Take care.
Thanks. You guys too. We'll talk soon.
All right. That's Marcus Walsh, WHHI-TV. Let's shout out some sponsors, and our next guest is waiting in the green room. The varsity sponsors of LowcoSports. DDS Web Design builds, hosts, and maintains websites for businesses and nonprofits that get results. So if you need to get found online and do more and think bigger, go to DDS Web Design, DDSHHI.com. Parker Law Group serves legal needs across Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties, and they jumped on board to help us continue to expand our coverage in those counties and shine a light on more deserving teams and student athletes around the Lowco. Dr. Ambrose Cole is our official chiropractor of LowcoSports. You can find him at Rooted Living Wellness in Bluffton, and he'll get you feeling right, mind, body, and spirit. And Reverence Wrestling Club is the official wrestling sponsor of LowcoSports and the presenting sponsor of the Lowco Grind. And now we're going to shift it into a Lowco Grind mode because we got Patrick Boulware in studio with us. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? How are you, Wes? How's it going, buddy?
Great.
Good to see you, brother. I see you all over the social media.
Trying to post as much as I can, try to stay out there, doing my thing, whether it's wrestling, racing, maybe getting back into a little bit of baseball. We never know what's going to come around the corner. Just staying active. Got my boys and the family.
You're still racing?
Yeah. We kind of after wrestling, leaving Hilton Head, I just had that urge again to get back into it, and wasn't locked down with having to be committed to so much things, and we bought another race car, and we're traveling around doing it when we can. So
all right, man. All right, my boy Mullis was just up at the dirt track races in Lancaster the other night. Sending me videos from up there from the infield. But no, we brought you on to talk wrestling because you and Jeffrey Estrada are really heading things up over on the island as far as wrestling goes with the Sons of Thunder and Daughters. I always get them mixed up. And you guys are heavily involved in the state, South Carolina USA wrestling stuff. You are, if I'm not mistaken, the director for the girls, and just took a group, including a bunch of low country girls who train with y'all and at Reverence out to the national duel. So tell us about that. I know the big headline from our perspective was Zeo Estrada went undefeated, finished her national duels career undefeated. First wrestler from South Carolina to do so, if I'm not mistaken. But tell us about some of the other highlights from out there.
Yeah, so we had 2 girls teams go. We had the junior/16U girls go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then Jeff took those girls because he wanted that last year with Zeo being there before she graduates and picks wherever she goes to college. I took the 14U girls to Westfield, Indiana, right outside of Indianapolis. which that was an absolute nightmare because I did not know what I was getting into with the swimming open being there at the same time.
Shoot.
It was just new area was crazy. Yeah.
Oh,
so that was, I don't know who does more Indianapolis, Indiana. It was absolutely insane. So, so I took that group up there. And then we also had our junior boys went to Tulsa as well, at the same time. So we had teams everywhere during this past week. So, yeah, headline Zayo going undefeated. That child's amazing when it comes to wrestling. I think she has definitely expanded the balloon for our state, not only for the girls, but for the boys as well. And her dad coming here, really opening our eyes to what the Olympic styles of wrestling can do for wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
Folk style is great. Freestyle and Greco, if you buy into it, man, that's a whole nother beast. So, it was a good weekend. We're still behind a little bit when it comes to just the magnitude of teams, where you got states like PA and California and Oklahoma that, they've got 200-300 girls trying out for these teams. Right. We filled out a junior team that was really good. Our 14 girls, we're still struggling with that. We took 9 girls out of the 15 that was allowed. So, we took some hits, but we got girls that are wanting to get better, and that's really what my job is to keep promoting it and taking them, anywhere and everywhere I can.
That's the job of coach, mentor, and doing some great work over there. I want to hear more about Zayo because we've covered her for a while now, and behind the scenes, you've done some great work with her and just have built her into what you're seeing now on the mat. But just expand on how much she has blazed a trail for high school wrestlers wrestling at large in the Low Country, and what she's done to really open up more avenues for wrestlers of all genders and all ages to succeed out there and get hooked on the sport.
I think for Zayo, the coaching aspect she's had her whole life. Her dad is a world-class coach. There is nothing that I can do more than what he's already done. The only thing that I can do is lead her maybe down a different path, right? He's intense. He is very intense. And that's what I love about him. I'm more on the calm side, like, hey, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. She gets into situations. She'll be okay. I think for her, she has shown girls that it's okay to wrestle. We come from an area where it's not normal, right? Our girls, they play volleyball, they play basketball, lacrosse is getting big, softball. Wrestling, we're not in an area where there's parents that have been doing this for generations to go.
I mean, even boys wrestling, was people kind of looked sideways at you for a long time around here about wrestling.
Oh yeah,
even guys, let alone girls. So
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, we're still in the early stages of adoption as far as the overall area goes in the overall state.
Oh, for sure. And that's one of the arguments that I have with some of the other coaches when we travel and go to all these places. I said, we don't have basements here. Y'all's kids, all the best states that have the best wrestlers come with basements because they're either thrown down there because the moms don't want them out in the house breaking stuff because it's snowing outside or it's super cold. Our kids are at the beach in December, so I think that's a little difference too, because dad's like, hey, go downstairs, beat the crap out of each other, so.
It's a good point. I hadn't thought about it, but the basement may be a key factor. The cold weather, I think, is definitely part of it because there's nothing to do all winter, right? Yep. So you go roll around and wrestle, and you go every weekend. You go somewhere and wrestle, and you're driving through. It's still dark when you're driving there, and it's dark when you're driving home, and that's all you do.
100%.
That's the way it was in Kansas for sure. But there's definitely a rising wrestling culture here, though, and definitely if you know where to look, the South Carolina Wrestling Room Facebook group, for example, where you're really active. It's pretty impressive to see, the caliber of wrestlers that are coming out of the state. JJ Peace obviously was one of the greatest that's ever done it in the state and high school level, going on to American University. You're seeing more programs popping up around the state and getting a little more acclaim. So, you're kind of an early adopter. I mean, you wrestled at Bluffton in the mid 2000s, kind of when it was still, it wasn't where it is now as far as South Carolina wrestling goes, and especially not the Low Country. But what have you seen kind of as far as general trends and are we still on the upward trajectory of the sport growing? Are we still just getting started?
I think on the folk style aspect, we're definitely rising. It's more common for kids winning multiple state titles now, because they're getting more training in. Yeah. You've got the JJs, you've got the Case and Howells, you've got the Ricky Springs, the kids that are wrestling back in my day. The only time you're really winning a multiple state title is if you were at Eastside or if you were at Fort D or Lugolf Elgin. It was very select schools. I think we're on the rise. I think now that wrestling is getting more popular mainstream when it comes, with Gable Stevenson going to the NFL, wrestling is getting more looks.
And I think MMA, I think the popularity of MMA has helped too. I think
that too,
just because people see the wrestling aspect of it, and it's like, it's a path now from wrestling to something that they can see beyond high school.
Yes. Between that, I mean, jiu-jitsu, MMA stuff is blowing up. I think it's in my opinion, I think jiu-jitsu is going to be the new CrossFit from what CrossFit was 10 years ago. There was such
coming
a
up.
Boom in that.
Well, I
believe that's what's going to happen.
As like the choice, like social workout, right? Like, I think, and I think probably COVID stifled it for a little bit, because the idea of going in and rolling around with people and rolling around on mats during COVID wasn't super appealing. But I think you're right. I know there are a lot of dudes who are getting out and doing it. And I'm interested, I'm kind of interested.
It's a great workout. It's a great workout. It's great. Mark Hogan, who's one of our coaches, ambassadors, mentors over at the club, he started the Old Man Hand Fighting Club on Wednesdays. So he's got about 7 or 8 old guys that come in and they're learning hand fighting, and they're getting a workout in, and it's turned into a good little workout and social group for those guys.
Old Man Hand Fighting Club.
The Old Man Hand Fighting Club.
Well, but you guys have been out on the road nonstop. So what are some other highlights from the club over this past, few months? Because I know that you took girls to Nebraska, where we talked to Michaela after she won a national championship out in Indianapolis, right? So you've been all over the dang place, taking wrestlers around, and you have kids, not only homegrown kids from the Low Country, but some that have transplanted themselves here to keep training with you guys, right? So give us a little bit more of a glimpse inside the club.
Yeah. So I'm going to give all that praise to Jeff. He is the road dog of all road dogs when it comes to traveling. He has got the 15-passenger van putting miles on it a day. He has a program, and he takes these kids in the Northeast Regional. They're going to Utah. We're doing world team trials and I can't even think of the name. Out west. You got US Open in Columbia or in Vegas. It's hitting up all these places so that our kids that are trying to get that stop sign at Fargo, we're getting pinpoints, which is a new system that USA Wrestling has adapted. And, it's hitting up all the local stuff that we possibly can. So it's giving these kids opportunities to get seen, whereas you're not going to get an Oklahoma scout coming to probably the Southeast Regional, but you're going out west to Oklahoma, you're probably going to see them. It's getting put in front of those bigger schools or even your big 2A, 3A, NAIA schools that you might not necessarily see at, a
Right.
At Virginia Beach,
Right.
so it's getting our kids to say, hey, like I support Presbyterian, the Citadel, Lander, Newberry. I love seeing our kids go to that state, but I also think it's a good investment for our kids to go outside of the state and
Right.
experience new cultures, just like I did with baseball going to Philadelphia, So it's putting kids out there and getting them to see the country, because you never know, tomorrow that opportunity might not be there for them anymore.
I got a niece headed to Baker in Kansas, so I got an in out there.
There you go.
She's going to wrestle there. Get in there, Wes.
Good. Yeah. About wrestling at the youth level, the younger kids, are you starting to see a growth there with just like the younger aged kids getting trained, just more kids committed to wrestling at a bigger level than you've seen in the past? And you think that this area could really take off in the next 5-10 years in terms of the sport?
Oh, 1,000%. We've doubled in club sizes almost in the state. We're getting more people involved. Our youth kids are having older kids that they can follow on social media, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or seeing these people, and they're going, hey, mom, dad, I want to do it. I want to be just like JJ. I want to be the next Zayo, or even younger girls seeing Michaela and Nova and Angeli that are rising up through the ranks. And I think in the next 5 years, it's going to get to a point where we're having events that have 600-700 little kids there, and they're getting 5 to 10 matches in a day.
Yeah.
So it's from what it was when I was wrestling, it's 98% bigger.
It's truly unreal. I mean, I may have told this story before, I don't know, but Truman's first tournament, when we started the Low Country Wrestling Club a few years back, because we were just trying to get something going out here in Bluffton. You guys had it going on the island, but we didn't have anything going in Bluffton yet. Pre-Reverence, pre-COVID. And we signed him up for his first tournament at Paris Island, right? And we're driving over there, and he's nervous because everybody's going to be watching him. And I said, oh, no. Like, I have this picture in my head of youth wrestling tournaments in Kansas, where I grew up, and in Oklahoma, where we went more often than not. Yeah. And like the gym is wall to wall mats, and they're like quartered off, and there's 16 or 20 matches going on.
You got a 4x4 section and 27 parents yelling at a 5-year-old.
Pure chaos. No one is paying attention to you except for the people who are watching you and the people who are watching the guy you're wrestling, right? So that's what I tell him. Like, no. Nobody's going to be paying attention to you. We get there. It's one mat, full-size mat in the middle of the gym at Paris Island. And he's got to go up against some kid that won second at state last year. And then he watches that kid get teched by the other kid he's got to wrestle. And I'm like, oh, brother. But then he got that bronze medal at the end of it. 3rd place out of 3. And he was hooked. And he wanted to come back for the next one. So,
that confidence boost is crazy, man. It's when they finally figure it out, too, and they get over that.
When they get that hand raised.
Scare factor. Yep.
That first time they get that hand raised and they get to feel what it feels like to feel that instead of walking off the mat in shame. Oh man, you're hooked, and there's no going back from that point on. But I hope we get to a point where our youth tournaments are a little less intimidating for the new guys.
Yeah. I mean, our rookie divisions are growing tremendously, and it's word of mouth spreading. So I think in the next 5 years, I believe, like I said, I think this area is going to be just blooming with some stud wrestlers.
Yeah, and I think we've got a pretty good little compliment thing going too with what Reverence is doing and what you guys are doing are two kind of complementary things in a lot of ways. You mentioned it, and for people who aren't as initiated, Reverence, they do some freestyle certainly in the summer, but they're primarily focused on folk style and freestyle, and developing kids for the more traditional route, so to speak, of like college wrestling. Although the girls' college wrestling is freestyle, so that's a little tricky thing there. But you guys have kind of leaned into specializing more in the freestyle and the Greco-Roman, which are the I guess even more traditional in a way, but the Olympic styles of wrestling. And so your focus is a little different than theirs as far as what you're trying to prepare kids for and the path you're putting them on. Certainly college is on the menu, but Olympics are what you guys are really looking at as an end goal, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, can you tell me the last Olympian from South Carolina to wrestle?
No.
Probably
Nobody hasn't been one.
We've had one person.
Right. Has there been one?
It's been one. Ike Anderson. Okay. Ike Anderson wrestled Greco back in 40 years ago.
In the Bronze Age.
And you go to look at. No one talks about that stuff really anymore. We had what was his name from Beaufort, the Olympic lifter?
CJ Cummings.
Yep.
We've had one lifter,
CJ Cummings. CJ Cummings. Sam Gilman was just in the Olympic trials, but didn't quite make it.
Yep.
But yeah, it's very rare. Very rare.
Yeah. So it's giving kids a passion and an idea that they have an opportunity. That's the only route you can. We don't have it in folk style. And if you look at some of the best wrestlers to ever do it, they started young. You look overseas, they start at 5 years old doing Greco and freestyle. That's because that's all they have over there. But it's, Jeff really opened my eyes because, I was so narrow focused on the folk style because that's all I've ever done. But when he goes, what was your goal for baseball? And I said, well, that's to make it to the pros. And he goes, what's the pros for wrestling? I kind of looked at him. I'm like, well, I guess the Olympics. And he goes, and that's why. He goes, those 4 years of college are over. What is your next move? Do you want to be good at it now and then be able to transition into folk style? Or do you want to be good at folk style and then have that hard transition, going up against kids that's the new norm. Guys are now creating these training centers and stuff, and they're foregoing high school, and some middle school guys are foregoing middle school because they want to train to make a world team or a Pan Am team and represent our country. So I think you look at some of these guys, look at Bo Bassett, for instance. I mean, he is the golden child of wrestling right now. I would, if his dad didn't have the program that they have at Bishop McCourt, you would probably see guys like that not wrestle that much in high school so that they could focus on trying to make a gold, an Olympic team and winning gold.
Yeah.
So at a young age, because all these athletes are only doing it at younger ages.
That's right.
So
got to shoot for the stars to make it to the moon, baby.
Zayo was one match was a few points away from making that U20 team. I mean, she's a Pan Am member, finishing second, but how many kids are really trying for that goal? And in my opinion, you have two options. You have being an All-American, and that comes from Fargo or the U.S. Open, or that's an Olympic champion. So that's really, yes, we focus on that more because it's just a different goal. It's not to say that we don't like the other options.
Oh, it's not to say one's right or wrong. It's just two different objectives. And that's what all, like, when you talk about like travel sports, club sports, all those kinds of things, like there's not right and wrong answers. It's which one is the best fit for you. Not. What are your objectives? What are your priorities, and which club, matches up with yours, is all that really matters.
And I think it's about to start happening at the NCAA level too. Look what we just got. 3-point takedowns. Why did they put in 3-point takedowns? Because they want to see more takedowns. You're seeing more of that style. You go back to 2 years ago when we took 6 kids to the state tournament in the lower state championships at Bluffton. We had 5 kids in the finals. And it was going off of a freestyle mentality. Take them down, let them up, beat them down, beat them down, make them go, God, he's going to let me get it back up. And the kids, they caught on to that because you can take an average wrestler with some good athleticism and teach them that rather than saying, here, hold a person down for 3 minutes. Try to get out. No, let's take them down. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of
highlights of my entire life.
I'm a big fan of not wasting too much energy riding. If you got an easy takedown and he's about to get away, let him up and take him down again. I mean, if it's going to be easy money, let's go 2 for 1 all day. Not just let him conserve energy on bottom. But yeah,
I think it makes the wrestling more interesting too. So
for sure,
it's way more fun. It's way more fun to watch people wrestle on their feet than on the mat anyway. So
yeah,
it's good stuff. But hey, man, thanks for spending time with us, and thanks for what you do, pouring yourself into the kids and trying to give them a path to be the best they can be, man. That's all we can ask of our coaches. Is try to put kids
doing
in.
the best. Doing the best we can. That's all we can do, and have fun and give these kids an avenue. And, whether it's here, whether it's Reverence, whether it's the Bull Sharks, the new club out in Beaufort.
My guy, Coach Mitch, starting up the Bull Sharks. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. It's giving kids an opportunity, Of course, I want them all to come to our club, because we're the best. But, it's okay to see them at other clubs too. Wrestling's growing. That's all I can ask for.
That's right, man. Well, we appreciate you, and we'll talk to you real soon. Take care. Send our best to all the Sons of Thunder and Daughters of Zion. See you, man.
Will do. Thank you, guys. See ya.
That's Patrick Boulware, Sons of Thunder, Daughters of Zion Wrestling Club over on Hilton Head, doing big things. Got kids dreaming big, shooting for the stars. I love it. Wrestling, I love wrestling. I'm a big fan. It's it makes you tough. That's for sure. Mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. It's a really tough sport, and it's a tough sport to coach. It's hard being on the side and you can't do nothing about what's happening, but nothing but scream. But those guys are doing a great job carting kids all over the country, letting them do big things.
It's all the mindset.
100% it is, and it definitely builds a tougher mindset. Lowco Booster Club supports what we do, so please support them. We got the Court Lifestyle Pros. Daniel and Debbie Court are Lowco natives who want to bring you home to Hilton Head Island. They're with Charter One Realty, Revive Rehab, Women's Health and Pelvic Floor Physical Therapy. They do what they say, what the name says, and you'll find Dr. Allie and Dr. Jen there. They love to work with new moms and get them feeling right. Eagle Creations has promotional items and custom apparel. Also the host of our new Lowco web store, where you can get this logo and a couple of variations on all kinds of different apparel and support what we do here at LowcoSports. You can also go to Argent Boulevard and check out Eagle Creations' shop to see what all they can do for you there. Jay's Barbershop, mentioned him earlier on the show. Jay's Barbershop in downtown Ridgeland, the place to be. You can go in for some great conversation and camaraderie and come out looking stylish at Jay's Barbershop. Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country. Chris Odom and company will get your floors so clean your feet will thank you. And then a couple other shout outs to we got a new episode of Under the Bus premiered tonight. It's a good one. Kirkpatrick has a great story about Harvey the Hound from the Calgary Flames getting his tongue ripped out by Craig McTavish, and Curry went and did a story on it, and a very tongue-in-cheek story where he interviewed Harvey and his wife and Triumph the Insult Comic Dog and all kinds of other people. But I say all that to say that Under the Bus is presented by Hudson Seafood on the dock. So, the guys give them a great shout out on this week's episode. Obviously one of their favorites, a local favorite, and a Hilton Head landmark. If you haven't had the shrimp, the oysters, all the good stuff from Hudson's, you're really missing out. You got to get out there, but maybe wait till the tourists leave. It's probably a little packed right now, a little better other times of year for us locals. And then also Hearth Wood-Fired Pizza in Beaufort. They did a big spirit night for us a while back and raised a good chunk of money to support our mission. So we'll call them a Lowco Booster Club sponsor for now, and we look to get them in the official mix next season. But Wes, great show tonight, talking with Coach Kyle Bennett and Patrick Boulware, as well as with Marcus Walsh. Always great when he stops by. Any parting thoughts before we call tonight?
Some breaking news I just saw a couple minutes ago. Beaufort Academy has announced their new baseball coach, hired varsity baseball coach John Thompson, a graduate of Camden High School and also played at the Citadel. So, South Carolina raised product over from Camden, playing his college ball here in the States. Great to see him stay around here in South Carolina and take the reins.
That's great.
Program.
They've been trying to get that thing going in the last few years. They had Braden Deneen, who was a really solid baseball player. They were trying to kind of get the program built back around and just couldn't really get, any footing. And then last couple of years, Bryce Young's been over there and they've wanted to build around him. But I was talking to Jeremiah Young the other night. I think Bryce is going to go to Bridges next year where Jeremiah works, because they've got the program on a little steadier footing right now. But I know that Coach Howell over at BA has been running summer camps, baseball camps. He's a baseball guy. So, I knew he wasn't going to give up on it. And they've got enough guys that hopefully they'll probably be young for a couple of years, but that's good to know that they've got somebody in place that hopefully can build a foundation and kind of get that thing going. Because we'd love to see them get it going. I know they got a couple dudes over there.
Yeah. You need to have that guy who has that hunger to build a program and the passion to display on the kids. And you said it's a program that has found ways to discover and build talent at times. Deneen, multi-sport stud. All-effort guy, glue guy. He was the leader on the football field, but you talk about fulfilling different roles in the basketball court and then baseball as well. You need guys like that, and I think BA, those are the guys you want to find to really enhance your programs, and hope that really comes to fruition for this Beaufort County team. And I like the hire. It's always nice to see South Carolinian, stay around here and look to build this program further, and just to have the championship mentality that we've seen in the Christian Academy and other places as well, SCISA schools around here in the Loco. You're trying to emulate that kind of culture, and we'll see if John Thompson can do that here for the VA Eagles. So I'm excited for that hire and looking forward to see him coming up next spring. And it's been cool to see these spring sports really succeed. At the SCISA level, we saw some soccer squads win state championships. Hilton Head Christian Academy, GW Wilkerson, and that was really cool. Just SCISA in general. I just feel like the passion's really there. The players really. I just feel like the intimacy of the SCISA, just the way they not specialize, but actually play different sports. It gives you more of an identity, more of a I just feel like in SCISA you have.
There's a lot of school pride. There's a lot of like culture, kind of. I hear that. I wanted to circle back to the Legion games because we kind of. Oh, did you have something else to add there? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just saying. Just all the folk heroes I remember, like Peduzzi on Hilton Christian Academy over the years. Both of them, Abby Peduzzi and
Jackson Lanier.
Jackson Lanier. You talk about just guys that build their. You can say it for the high school league as well, but just I just feel like there's been something really special about seeing these SCISA programs thrive and really grow as teams, and just the characters that make them up. And just looking back, it's always fun. But I have another. Speaking of something like that, homecoming, because I didn't get the chance to talk about my time tonight at May River because I got to go to meet, and it was a meet and greet, just like we said with Coach Bennett for the boys basketball team. We had the girls basketball team head coach Terry Kicks, and got to talk with her and hear about her coaching philosophies and her excitement for taking this on. And she just talked about how important it is to have a fun environment, competitive environment, and to be the best version of ourselves out there in the court. And she's going to test them right away. She's going to make them earn their minutes on the court. She has some great experience at the college level as an administrator at the coaching level. I think it's a great, great hire for this program. I just think she really walks the walk of someone who's going to find a way to impact this program immediately and to really set the precedent for what it's going to take to build a winning program. And she said she understands that wins and losses won't be the forefront starting out. It's going to be, how is this team handling themselves on the court? How is the work ethic? How is that showing? How bought in are the kids? And how have they improved over the year? And so I think that all those qualities make up a coach that really is dedicated to building something here. And I think I think she's a great fit for this program. And then on top of that, a homecoming of sorts. So I mean, it is a homecoming because, and this is cool. This is really cool because it kind of hits you that you've been doing this for a long time now, that you have someone who you covered as a player coming back as a coach. And that's Olivia Peluso for the Maryville Sharks, who, of course, was a key factor of that tremendous Maryville girls team who got to the lower state finals when Coach Bigham was there coaching that team. And now here she comes back as an assistant coach for that same girls basketball program. So I got to see her today.
That's awesome.
And I think that's really cool to have her back in the fold.
That's outstanding. That's terrific. I mean, we got Jamise Franklin over at USCB too on Coach Versip's staff. So no, it's always great. And your boy Jacob Coltrane, he keeps rising up the ranks. He's at Houston now, right? He keeps getting new jobs. He's got a new job every time I turn around. But I did want to circle back to the Legion ball because Buford Ospreys got their first win tonight, as we mentioned earlier, 4-2 over Moncks Corner. Jaden Davis went 5, struck out 8, 3 hits, 1 run, 4 walks, solid outing. Hunter Hollingsworth came in, got the save, 2 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. So really good pitching tonight. Maurice Barnes continues to swing a great bat, 2 for 3 tonight with a couple of runs scored. Ben Solomon's had a double and scored twice. Reese Mullen, 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. And Hollingsworth had a hit and an RBI as well. So shout out to those guys. And Walterboro, break up Walterboro. They have taken the first 2 from St. George, which was sitting in second place. So Walterboro trying to get a series win, and then it'll be Walterboro against Beaufort next week in the final week of the regular season. So getting down to it. Excited that Legion baseball is kind of making a comeback. I hope it continues to gain steam.
It's cool.
But
that was one of my favorite parts of seeing summer sports. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. The 7-on-7, the one thing I think failed to mention that I meant to was that Hampton and Beaufort were about to go head to head, which would have been like the best matchup of the day. And then they said, nope, too hot. Everybody's got to go home. So that was a bummer. But I did talk to Coach Hanna. He was excited. Jay Alfonso was really excited about how Thomas Hayward looked. Everybody was excited about how Bluffton looked. I'm guessing at Battery Creek, it looked like they played pretty tough. Hilton Head was there. Everybody was there. So we'll have to make some more calls and texts and see how everybody did. But it's starting to get my blood pumping because it's almost here, buddy. It's almost football season. We're going to do it up big this year. But that does it for tonight. So thanks so much to Marcus Walsh, to Coach Kyle Bennett. Yeah, it's coming, man. And to Patrick Boulware for hopping on to talk wrestling with us. Thanks to all of our sponsors and to all of you for showing up to listen or watch. We'll be back Saturday night. We're shifting the third episode of the week to Saturday night. I'll be live from East Cobb, from Kennesaw or someplace up there in the Atlanta area. And we'll have Wes and hopefully Max on board, and we'll see who we can round up to talk to Saturday night for the Loco Sports Lowdown. So be sure to join us then. And until then, go Loco.
The Loco Sports Lowdown podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Loco.